got there maybe around 9 o'clock. I assessed the Jaguar. Jarvis left a moment.
You guys finished the Jaguar and prepared to leave?
Probably around 7:30 or somewhere around there.
Talasha Moore.
Do you know someone by the name of Cordell Wright?
He is the father of my nephew, my 17-year-old nephew.
17.
It's my mother's car. He worked on her car.
Okay, and what kind of car does your mother drive?
A red Jaguar.
Going back to January of 2024, where were you living at the time? Not your specific address, just the city.
Ypsilanti.
And who else lived with you in Ypsilanti?
My mom and my
Did Mr.
son.
Wright ever come out to Ypsilanti to fix your mom's car, her Jaguar?
Yes,
How often did he do that?
like a couple times, at least 2 times.
And was that around January of 2024?
That was the last time.
In January was the
Yes.
last time. And when he would go out there, would he bring anyone with him?
This last time he did it.
What about
Or the
prior?
last 2 times. So before January 9th, him and someone else came, and then on January 9th, they both came.
Okay. And the person that he brought with him, do you see that person in the courtroom today?
Yes.
And could you point to him and identify a piece of clothing he's wearing?
Well, I can only see the top of his head right now.
Are you 100% sure that it's that person? Could we have everyone remove their masks, Judge, just for a brief moment?
If everyone in the courtroom could remove their mask if they have one on, please.
Ms. Moore, do you see the person that Mr. Wright brought with him?
I
You
do.
said Mr. Butts came out how many times with Cordell?
At least 2. So this last time in January and the time before that.
Okay, and the time before that, who was anyone else with the two of them?
No.
And what were they doing the time before January 9th?
Working on the car. I can't remember. It was a couple of things they had to fix on it. And they came out and did it in the driveway. And
Sorry.
no. I was just gonna say the last time when we got the car towed to the shop and they drove it back up.
Okay. And so in between the most recent time before January 9th, the Jaguar, correct me if I'm wrong, was towed to Detroit?
Correct.
Okay. And then on January 9th, did you see that red Jaguar again?
Yeah.
Okay. Who brought that Jaguar out to Ypsilanti?
Cordell and Jarvis.
Okay. And was anyone else with Cordell and Jarvis?
Yes.
Who is that person?
When the detectives came to the house to question us, that's when I found out
Okay.
who she was.
Now, let's talk about when they came out on the 9th, January 2024. What was that interaction? How long did it last? Can you kind of take me through start to finish their visit and delivering the car?
So they came, they delivered the car. They were talking to my mom about what was wrong, gave her the invoice. It was just like a regular day when they came in, they sat on the couch for a few minutes. Ms. ZIYAH was sitting in the chair by the TV. We spoke, very brief. Asked her if she wanted something to drink. She didn't. My 6-year-old son ran up to her, the dog. It was just.
I'm thinking about the route that it would have took them to get from that house back to Detroit, and she could be anywhere along that stretch. Because ain't nobody see her no more after that. Besides, after this woman, after she left that house, didn't no other person see her. So they could have just, soon as they left there, they could have got rid of her. And then came back in town without her and stuff, which is why they were searching all out in Ypsilanti and everywhere else, because they following his phone pings. And I truly feel like he did something shady with that phone. And the fact that they asked Shannon, is Jarvis known to go one place and walk, to have somebody else pick him up? Is he known to do that? Because they knew. They sat
there, we talked about the car and stuff. We talked about my nephew. Cordell was trying to wait till my nephew got out of school, but because he was on tether, they had to leave, so they didn't get to stay long enough for my nephew to come.
And your nephew would be Cordell's son.
Cordell.
When they left, whose car were they leaving in?
Cordell's truck.
And all 3 of them were in the same car?
Yes.
And you said that they were delivering the Jaguar to your mom or to your house, right?
Yes.
Did you see them pull up? Do you know what the driving and seating arrangements was?
I do not.
And you said that there was a time prior to January 9th that he came up and worked on the car, correct?
Correct.
And you said that my client was with him that time.
Correct.
Do you recall when that was?
It had to be in the summer. I cannot recall the exact date.
But it was summer of 2023?
Yes.
And that was the first time you had seen Jarvis Butts?
Yes.
Parking, when did you have the car towed down to his shop?
I think we had it towed maybe like the 4th or the 5th.
So it was there from the 4th.
Wait a minute. That was the other part. That part. I forgot about that, y'all. Now, that car had been sitting there from the 4th or the 5th. Why did they pick that day to actually do the car? Why do we think they picked that day to actually work on that car? That car had been there for days. Fixed it on the 9th, same day he had court. Why would you pick that day?
So on January 9th, approximately when did you have the car towed down to his shop?
I think we had it towed maybe like the 4th or the 5th.
So it was there from the 4th, okay? And it was 9th that they brought it back?
Correct.
Okay. Do you know approximately what time the car was brought back?
Had to be before 3:30 p.m.
Y'all hear that?
It was
Well, no.
Then she gonna
It had
change
to
it
be
to 5.
before 5:30 because my sister got off work at 5:30. So mid-afternoon.
See? So how the hell right there? She said 3 something, then she said 5. Either way, both of those days would have been light outside. This is the same day that what's his name? King said that they left the shop at 7:30. His sister testified that she was at the shop that day because Jarvis had to fix her car and she told the wrong time, but then her phone told the right time from 3:45 until 5:16. We going by the sister. The sister's time is calculated by her cell phone. So we can believe that. Either way, y'all, it ain't looking like they left the shop at 7:30 like Jarvis said. I mean, like King said they did. Because it would have been dark already. And there's no way he would have made it to Ypsilanti 30, 40 minutes there and back and got back by 9 for his tether. He actually said they got back before 9 because they had, I think he said about 8:45. He had time to split the money and all that. He said when he left, Jarvis was still there. He did not see him leave, although Jarvis's phone was clocked at a woman's house at 9 o'clock, which means that could not have been correct. These people lying. Somebody lying. Okay, let's go.
But you're not sure the exact time.
I'm not sure the exact time.
Was it light or dark outside?
It was still light out.
Still light out. It was still light out. So they couldn't have left at 7:30 like King. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, the last video will show it because I was showing King's testimony, what his sister, Jarvis's sister said, and the times wasn't timing. They wasn't lining up at all.
And how long did this conversation last?
Like all of our conversation?
Right. How long were they there?
Probably between like 30, 45 minutes.
Okay.
Maybe an hour.
So after about an hour, they left.
Correct.
Was it light or dark?
It was still fairly light.
See, it was still fairly light. Ain't no way. Her time, I believe her time's more than I believe what King said. So it was still light outside, ma'am. They had plenty of time to do what they was doing. That's why they was rushing. So they could do, allegedly, I mean, according to what she's saying, because King said they left the shop at 7:30 and he was running tight for his tether and, they had to split the money about 8:45 and by 9 o'clock he left. It's bull crap. But I believe her timeline more than I do his. I believe it was earlier. I believe they left her house when it was still light outside. And I believe that Jarvis was at that Willem or address that he used at the hotel. Where was ZIYAH when he was at that other woman's house? I don't believe ZIYAH made it back from Ypsilanti. But I don't know. But I mean, why was he so adamant on her being with them that day? Because he knew they was going to drive a far distance and they wanted to take her somewhere far.
But was Cordell driving?
Correct.
And at some point, you were contacted, correct?
Correct.
When were you contacted?
Well, we were contacted by Cordell the next day because when we paid the invoice, it was $70 short. So we had to get Jarvis's Cash App to send the rest of the money. So that was the last part of the conversation.
Remember, because he said Jarvis didn't come to work on the 10th, but he talked to him a couple of times that day. They could have been talking about this too, or how to get rid of something.
And then the detectives came, I want to say the end of March.
So the end of March.
Months later, the detectives came asking her about it. This was January 9th, and they didn't come until like March. But how do you be $70 short? That was kind of odd. Like $70. I could see $1, but 70.
How far of a drive is it from Detroit to Ypsilanti?
Probably about 40 minutes,
And what was the reason that Cordell had to leave again?
because he said he had to be back in the house for his tether.
Okay, so did it seem like he was in a little bit of a rush to get back, or he was cutting it close maybe with that drive, 40 minutes?
No, I think he had whatever he needed to do, and he just wanted to make sure he was in the city.
See, I thought I remember her saying that. So he was in good timing, honey. He wasn't running late. He just wanted to make sure he wasn't gonna be late. Okay, so yeah, the math ain't mathing. It really ain't. 7:30.
On time.